On Monday, I announced that I quit my toxic job and that I was going to live my life. I was granted with that opportunity and I'm taking it. However,
hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about people that regretting that they're quitting their jobs. So you know that many people thought that leaving their 9-to-5 job is a good idea, it can bring them freedom, but eventually it's just led them to stress, financial struggle, and unexpected loneliness. So this is why so many people have second thoughts. So let's dive into the videos and watch, guys.
Who else has left a job that you're like not the happiest at because of like company changes, and then like 3-4 months later you're like, damn, I probably should have not left and waited it out a little bit? I'm definitely feeling that. I have like a post pinned about it. I left my company at the end of February. I thought it was going to be my forever job. And over the last 6 months that I was there was a lot of changes that made me like really unhappy. And I had just moved into a different role within those 6 months. So I didn't feel like I could like move to a different position. And I was wanting to work part-time. I would have stayed there if they would have had part-time, but they didn't have part-time. So I left. And I left before we went on our trip to California. And when we went on our trip back home to California, we left there like 10 years ago. We were both like, we want to move back. My job was fully remote. We had people that worked in California. And now I need to work full time again to get back to California in 2 years. My husband's gonna be able to get his promotion at his job, and him having a promotion and me working full time, we will be able to afford like after school childcare for my oldest son. And it's just like, I don't know if I need to go and kind of be like, hey, can I get my job back? It's just, I tried to do the waiting tables thing and for just like fun extra money. And for me, I really just like getting that big chunk of money every 2 weeks. Like, yeah, getting the cash every day is whatever. But I just honestly, I like sitting on my butt. I like sitting on my butt, beep, boop, typing, clicking, answering the phone, sitting in my home. I like doing that instead of running around 15-20 hours a week, if I'm just being honest. But man, I'm having a lot of regrets about leaving my job. I was unhappy for quite a few months, but I just feel like I could have stuck it out for 3 to 4 and just changed my position. But I didn't know we were going to want to move like back home to California from Texas. I just didn't know certain things were going to happen a month and a half later. Isn't that just how life goes though? That's just how life goes.
One day I announced that I quit my toxic job and that I was going to live my life. I was granted with that opportunity and I'm taking it. However, by 12 o'clock, I got calls for interviews. I had 2 interviews on Monday and I had an interview yesterday. And I went to them. Now, my problem is I feel like I'm going through withdrawals. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know if it's buyer's remorse. I don't know if it's that I feel that I need to work. I've worked for so long that I feel like I absolutely have to work. I love being able to do whatever I want. I went to the gym today. I got dressed and I went to the gym. I didn't record it. I will start recording that stuff. But I get to walk Flores. Come here, Flores. I get to walk my baby like all the time. Lilo's out over there hiding somewhere, but I get to be home with them. I get to do literally whatever I want. I can do quite literally whatever I want, but I have this feeling that I need to work. I don't know what it is. I feel like I absolutely have to. And am I the only one that has felt like this after quitting their job? Like, I know it was good for me. I know it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, but at the same time, I feel like I'm putting like a burden on my husband, like putting my car payment and whatever, even though he's okay with doing it. But it's like, I feel like I'm adding to the plate instead of taking off of the plate. So I don't know. I have like buyer's remorse. I don't know. I don't know. I have to make this work. I need to make this work, like being a full-time content creator. and stop thinking about what I'm not doing. I don't know. It must be a mental thing because I've worked for so long, but yeah, I feel like I have to get up, get dressed, and go to work, and that's it, which is unfortunate because there's more to life than that, but that is how I'm feeling. Let's see if I can make this work. I have to make it work.
I regret when I quit my 9-to-5 job. I didn't quit how I wanted to quit, how I should have quit, how I imagined I would quit my job. Man, I would have fought my boss.
I quit my job today, and I'm sitting with a lot of like mixed emotions right now. Did I make the right decision? I have guilt. I mean, guilt for leaving, but guilt for staying when, I know I wasn't happy. It wasn't what I wanted, but I do have 4 kids. And the thing is, like, I've been a stay-at-home mom their whole life, 19 years with my kids. And I have 2 other ones. And it's like, there's a guilt of not being home when they're home and the guilt of not working. And it's just so much fucking guilt. It doesn't end. You make a decision, right or wrong. Quit the job, keep the job, get divorced, stay married, move, don't move, whatever big decision that you're making. It comes with big emotions. It comes with some sort of mourning and grief and something else. What you're going to gain, I don't know. What I'm going to gain, I don't know. I don't have a plan. I just know that what was happening in the job wasn't working for me. And I also know that I could be better suited at home with being here with my kids, the ones that are still here. And I think there's this pull and this guilt, but I also know that those feelings and emotions are normal. And I'm going to feel them no matter what I decide. If I decided to stay, I'd be sitting with the same type of guilt and the same mourning and loss. Because again, we're not balancing things in life. I think we are conditioned to think that we're in control and that we're balancing everything. And in fact, we're not. We're just learning how to juggle differently. And when you juggle, things may fall. It's just, what are you willing to drop? What are you willing to let fall? Maybe that you could pick up later. Maybe we'll bounce back. Maybe you don't even need that thing. It's just really a juggling act and figuring out what you're willing to juggle. And I have no idea. I don't know what's next. I'm 47 years old and I can't even tell you. Like, I wish I knew. I know that I work really hard. I know that I wrote a book and that I'm constantly hustling to get my book out there. It just got into the community library, which I'm so excited about. I have some events coming up. I have a VIP day in the Berkshires that I do a healing retreat for women. I have that coming up. I mean, I'm excited about so many possibilities. I'm excited about writing my second book that I haven't even looked at in months. So now I get to go back to it and spend some time writing. I'm excited about being home for the kids when they get home from school and actually like being here to, get them on track and back on a good schedule. I'm excited about things like that, but I'm also scared. I'm scared of the loss of income. I'm scared of disappointing my husband. I'm scared of failing at whatever is out there for me. So all those things are part of the big emotion. I'm so grateful that we have platforms like this that we can come here and talk about and hopefully get feedback and relatability on, because so many times we sit with things and we stay scared alone. We stay guilty alone, especially for women. And I don't want to be scared alone. I don't want to be guilty alone. I want to share my experiences so it can help you, give you the permission to share yours and not be alone. So I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for this platform, and I'm grateful for the work that I have already done and foundations that I've already built, and I hope to build on them, because right now, I don't know what's next, but I know I love you, and I'll see you on the other side.
I just quit my 9-to-5 job, which is like the craziest sentence to say out loud. It wasn't an impulsive decision whatsoever. I actually went through like lots of phases of talking about it with different people. And I think the one thing that was always on my mind was this sense of regret that I would feel regardless of the decision that I made. And I don't know if anyone else has ever felt like this, but it almost felt like any decision I made, there would be like some regret that I was feeling, which was scaring me so much. And around the time when I had to like make my final decision, I read this 1987 paper, like it was so old, called Regret, a Theoretical and Conceptual Analysis by Janet Landman. And she basically broke down the concept of regret and said that it was not like any other emotion that we experience, because it's both cognitive and emotional. And regret happens when you're comparing your current reality to all of the other possible realities that are out there. I think that a lot of people think of regret as this failure of being rational, but she actually argues the opposite, where it's actually tied to being rational. It's your ability to recognize your choices, opportunities, missed chances. And she said that as long as you have the ability to imagine what if, you will always be met with this feeling of regret. So then I reshaped regret as excitement, as weird as that sounds, and was like, oh, this is cool. I have the ability to literally imagine all of these different possibilities as to how my life could turn out to be. So I've just learned to make peace with regret and realize that regret is just part of this entire journey. And any decision that you make, you'll always think about the what ifs. And I think that's just part of being
This might
human.
sound really ironic, but I've just turned 26, and one of my biggest regrets from my early 20s is working too hard. I know you typically hear quite the opposite of grind, work your ass off in your 20s so that you can have fulfillment, enjoyment, and comfort later on in life, but I just don't think that's the case. I think you're going to be working for the rest of your life through your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s. And your 20s are the only time in your life where you've got such limited responsibility and you can afford to make mistakes over and over again, to live it up, to travel, to lose all your money and do that over again, and then start taking work seriously in your later 20s. And you won't fall behind. I've been working pretty much since I finished school, so that's 9 years straight. And this is the first time in my entire life I've taken over a week off work, and it's the best experience I've ever had. If I could go back in time, the one thing I would have told myself is relax. It's not a race. Take a gap year, travel, move overseas. Enjoy, take risks, because the older you get, the more responsibility you take on. It's not as easy to step away from a career, a partner, a family, and just piss off and go to Europe for 6 months. You can mess around from the ages of 20 to 25, start life at 25, and you still will not be behind. While money gives you freedom, are you really free if you're chained to your desk 12 hours a day? The most free I've ever been is quitting my job.
My job for anything. And recently I just quit a really good job. They were paying me good money too, but they had me so fucked up. Man, fuck y'all. I am probably the best job quitter you will ever fucking meet. I do not play when it comes to these fucking bum ass jobs. I don't care if that job's paying me $30 fucking an hour. If you piss me off, I'm fucking gone. So I used to work at a very popular soda company, a very popular big, when I say big corporation, probably one of the biggest in the world, right? Y'all probably know what it is. My job specifically was to sit there and stock the shelves. I was a merchandiser. I would have to use my own fucking car, drive to different fucking stores and stock the shelves with whatever the fuck they had in the back. I would have to stock pallets on pallets. It was like 10 fucking pallets, and I would have to do it within that day. And I would have multiple stores a day. I would have to start at 4 a.m. Sometimes I even get home till like 8 p.m. 4 to 8. Are you fucking kidding me? That's no way to fucking live, bitch. So bam, technically I was still in training. I was only there for 3 fucking months. So I don't really give a fuck, bitch. Y'all hoes didn't need me for real. Y'all didn't need me. So I told you I had to go to multiple stores, right? I told y'all that. Bam, all these fucking stores, they would complain on me. They were saying I wasn't doing my job. They were saying, oh yeah, he doesn't do it right. Oh, he was mean to the customer. He said he didn't work here. Like, what the fuck? I don't. Okay, bam. Customers will come up and ask you questions. I don't work for you bitches. I work for this company. I don't know. Do you know where the jalapenos are? On the jalapeno aisle. I don't fucking know, bitch. Go ask somebody who works here. And they'd be like, oh, maybe you should just try to help them look. Why the fuck would I help? Are you paying me? No, you're fucking not. So get the fuck out of my face. So bam, one day I was in training. Mind you, I was in training this whole fucking time. I was not by myself at all. So the guy I was training with told me to stock the coolers. If you don't know what the coolers is, you ever go to Walmart, in the front by the self-checkout and all the checkout places, there's some coolers with the drinks in there. Bam, that's what I had to stock up. He said, bam, let's get out of here faster. Go ahead and just stock the coolers, then we can get up out of here. I said, bet. So I went to go stock the coolers by myself. It was so many coolers, y'all, but it just wasn't enough soda. So I stocked what I could and I went home. Mind you, the guy who I was training with, he looked at them and said they were fine, and we left. As I was leaving, I said, let me get something to eat. So I went to Cookout, got me some food, and I was munching down on some quesadillas. I get a fucking phone call from my manager. Apparently my manager was following me and looking at like the work I was doing. Like he was just like, every store I went to, he would just look at my work. He gonna say, yeah, Sid, we've been getting a lot of complaints about you. We've had numerous conversations with you, this, that, and third. So you need to come back here now. That's what he said now. First of all, bitch, I will fuck you up. Okay, sometimes my mouth does get me in trouble. I tend to overreact a lot. But, you know, when he said now, I quickly asked him really fast, who are you talking to? Because who the fuck were you talking to? He was like, I'm talking to you. And I didn't say this. I said, in my head, I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. He said, go back to that store you were just at and finish restocking it. I said, okay. So what I did was I acted like I was going back to the store, and I drove all the way back to the warehouse, and some white bitches were sitting there. I said, I didn't give a fuck about you hoes. I said, hi. And it was like, hey, how can we help you? I said, yeah, I would like to give this to you. It was like a phone. They gave me like a work phone. I said, yeah, I would like to give this to you. She was like, oh yeah, what for? I told her, I said, yeah, I fucking quit. Bitch! She was like, oh, yeah, bitch, oh. Then I went the fuck home, and now I'm unemployed. So maybe I overreacted. I should just went back to the store, but I'm happy.
Thank you for your likes, guys, and let's continue watching the videos. I do appreciate
people
it.
that I worked with, I realized that everyone hated their job. Hey, so I recently made a video about how I quit Big Four after 8 months working there, and I'm here to respond to some more questions and comments about it. I studied operations and info management in college, so the direct path was for me to go work in consulting at a Big Four, do data analytics. I ended up working at, we'll call it Company X because I don't want to name it. I interned there. I got my offer. The internship was great, honestly. They treat you like kings when you're an intern because they want you to come back. I took the offer when I got my full-time offer after my internship, because when you're at school, they all tell you Big Four is the way to go. You need to go to Big Four. You're going to make money. And it looks great on your resume. 1 year at Big Four is 2 years anywhere else. As I got closer to people that I worked with, I realized that everyone hated their job. My senior was working from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. like every single day, weekends included. And that is just no way to live, in my opinion. I respectively do not want to do that for the rest of my life. I value my health way more, especially someone who struggled with mental health. I didn't fight this hard for me to end up back there. I didn't have the intention of leaving before a year because I would have to pay my bonus back and then it would look bad on my resume. But after coming back from Christmas and New Year's, I just couldn't do it. I tried so hard. I would literally be in meetings over Teams and I would be crying in my meeting and no one would know because my camera was off. So all I had time for was work and then go to spin because spin is my outlet. And I would literally go and cry at spin class in that Soul Cycle dark room, and I just couldn't help it.
Okay, so I want to know how you guys quit your jobs. Like, do you just put your 2 weeks notice in and just disappear, or do you like say bye to everyone? Like, I feel like I work in a small office, so I feel like it's kind of awkward. Yeah, how do you guys quit a job, a corporate job? And I don't plan on quitting my job anytime soon, but stuff like this just goes on in my head. Like, when that time comes, how am I going to go about this?
I have a hot take. Being a PA might not be worth it for you. And hear me out. I love being a PA. I'm a dermatology PA, and I can't see myself doing anything else. I love my job. I love my coworkers. I love being able to help people. But I do not have a lot of flexibility. I have to work in person, and pretty much when I'm at work, I am at work. And I don't really have a lot of flexibility to leave and go do different things if I need to. I don't have the ability to work from wherever I am. So like I can't go on a trip and just work there too, so I don't have to use all my PTO. Healthcare salaries don't typically increase. They stay about the same and sometimes even decrease because of the reduction in reimbursement from Medicare, Medicaid, or insurance companies in general. Versus my fiance, my brother, or friends, for example, who work from home and are either engineers or work in tech or marketing or just whatnot, that allows them the flexibility to work from home. So, for example, we went to Cabo. Brody could work from home a couple of days. So he didn't have to use all his PTO while we were just hanging out and weren't really doing too much anyways. And I've seen a lot of people have that kind of flexibility with their jobs. They are able to go to the dentist quickly or go to the grocery store or go get a coffee or whatnot in between meetings, or even just working from home in general, being able to do laundry, the dishes, kind of household things that you're not really able to do when you have to work away from the house, which pretty much all healthcare jobs do. Unless you do telehealth, which I have to say I hate telehealth. I know some people work with jobs and they're able to do that and it works well for them. I'm so glad. I feel like in dermatology, it's 85-year-old grandma, never downloaded Zoom before, doesn't know her password to her computer. It's always a problem. Then they expect you to do a biopsy over Zoom. No. Anyways, I digress. Also, these jobs I was mentioning are jobs you only have to have a college degree for, like an undergraduate degree, and a lot of these people are making just as much as I am, if not more. I take a gap year to get patient contact hours in the hospital, making minimum wage, by the way, to work in the ER as a tech. Then I had to pay a lot of money to get a master's degree to then just make the same as these people who have a 4-year degree. So I would say, if money is your motivation, or, you don't really care about work, you just kind of care about your life outside of work, I think there are lots of other jobs that kind of give you that flexibility and that same level of pay. But I would not go back and change it. Like I said, I love my job. I can't imagine doing anything different. So I would just encourage you to really make sure this is what you want to do. I definitely think that people are made to do this, and you'll kind of know if you're that person. But don't get into it for the wrong reasons, because I think you will be disappointed. There's also a ceiling to being a PA, at least in the state that I work in. I will never be able to be my own boss or to own my own practice, which isn't really something I want to do anyways, but just saying, there are lots of other jobs you can work your way up in, and pretty much once you come out of school, like, you're just a PA. You're not going to be working towards much more. Not that that's already not an accomplishment, it's a huge accomplishment, but it's not, you're not going to be the boss of anything, versus you can always be climbing that ladder in a lot of other jobs, versus you're kind of just in this lateral ladder.
All right, so I just did the math, and it's been about 316 days since I quit my corporate job, and I just started traveling the world full time. And looking back on it, I wish someone would have told me to do that sooner. You guys don't know my backstory. I basically had my whole life mapped out for me. I did engineering in school. I was really good in school. I even went to grad school for it. And then right after grad school, I started working corporate right away. And that's what we're told our whole lives to do. Go to school, get a good job, do really well, get a high salary, get a nice fancy job title, and that's what I was doing. I was just following what everyone was telling me to do. And it took literally less than a year and a half of me working there to be like, what is this advice that people are giving me? Why is everyone so set on this 9-to-5 lifestyle? I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And at the time, I felt so alone, because I was like, wow, I'm gonna be that kid that literally quits her job, doesn't use her degree, goes off to some foreign country and travels the world, and just barely comes home. And it was so hard for me to come to my parents and tell them that I was just unhappy and that this is not what I wanted to do anymore, and I just felt like I was letting everyone down. I wish there would have been someone that, I don't know, I followed on social media, or one of my friends that had done it before, but no one encouraged me to make my decision to quit and leave. I did that all on my own. I had no one to talk to about it. I had no one to look to for advice. I did a 180 with my life, and I just did it on a whim, because I was more so scared of staying where I was than taking that risk and leaving. Now that I'm that person that's on the other side of it, I want to be that person for other people that tells them that it is so much better when you take that risk and you do what actually makes you happy, and you live your life for you and not for what other people are telling you to do, and not for what other people are telling you your happiness should be. Yes, I quit my job in May, and since then I've literally been traveling the world full time. I am in a different country every other month, and I am the happiest I've ever been. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not making the same amount of money that I was making when I was an engineer. That's just a fact, okay? So many people DM me and they're like, how did you do this? How did you afford this? Blah, blah, blah. And I want to share all that with you guys. And literally the first step is not caring what other people think and making the jump and just doing it. If you want me to get into all the nitty gritty of basically step by step of how I did it, and kind of how I'm affording it now and how I'm surviving out here, follow along and I'll make a
I just got denied for unemployment because I told them. I told them why I left my job, but me thinking because I was being emotionally and psychologically tortured, and I put in full detail with dates of what was happening to me, that I would get some sort of grace. Y'all see that? It says disqualified. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but disqualified.
lot of people quitting them jobs. A lot of people are quitting jobs because not so much they can't do the 9 to 5. They've already done the 9 to 5. They've proven they can do the corporate role. But their spirit is not aligned with that subscription, curriculum, status quo. Why is that?
What's going on, TikTok? Don't feel guilty about quitting a job on the spot. And let me tell you why. A lot of jobs require employees to at least give a 2-week notice. But the minute the employer wants to fire that employee, they'll just do it right then and there. No second thought, just fired. You're fired. If that job is giving you trouble and you want to go, you want to leave, you might as well, you know? And a lot of jobs, right, they rarely warn the person they're firing. I mean, they might put you on a performance plan and, you know, keep it discreet. They won't tell you exactly why they're putting you on it, but that, you know, that right there should let you know that something is not right. These jobs don't care about you. If you want to find your peace, leave it and go find your peace. Go find a better job. Simple as that.
Thank you for watching video with me regarding people that are quitting their jobs. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share, subscribe. It's really important for my channel growth. I do appreciate this, guys. And I'm done for today. So be safe, guys. And bye for now.